All right, guys, it's time for the #1 Star Citizen podcast on Friday nights. That's right, it's time for the Spacebro Show. Thank you for being here, guys. I really do appreciate it. Once again, we are going to do the adventures of Star Citizen in space. Had to go a little heavy on the echo. Anyway, joining me tonight is Mr. Toy Grubbin. He's here. Everybody knows him and the beautiful games he plays. We have Mr. Kurosaji with us, and we're going to jump right into it, guys. So we are going to get this party started right about now. So let's do this thing. All right, guys. What is going on? How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, man.
Good.
Nice. So, all honestly, we kind of threw the show together a little bit rough tonight, but we're going to have some stuff to talk about, obviously, related to everything from the eclipse, some cool little fragments we pulled out of the beautiful lighting video known as ATV. There's all sorts of good stuff that was in there. I'd have to say, and everybody knows how I get salty about lighting conversations, but
Really?
I do. Because last year we went through a whole dry spell where every other episode was about lighting. This is a lighting guy. Here's more lighting. And, you know, but I will say this is probably the best damn lighting episode they've had because they had so much eye candy to look at. So many other cool aspects of it that it was tolerable for sure. I did have to go get a cappuccino, so I didn't fall asleep through part of it, but it wasn't necessarily related at all to content. I was just tired. But it was...
Same thing happened to me. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way it goes. But first off, let's talk to the guys here and see what they've been up to and all that jazz real quick. So, Kurosaji, what have you been up to, man? What's been going on?
Yeah. So I do, try to do 6 days a week stream, and then I have the morning stream and the night stream. And, content's been running thin for Star Citizen. So I know you've been playing PUBG, Mitt. I played... I'll usually play through in the morning Star Citizen and run my content, and I just kind of do it like I feel like I do it like a World of Warcraft in a way, where I feel like I'm doing my dailies,
Yeah, exactly. Your daily is like, all right, we gotta get this and this. I've been doing the same thing though, especially with Star Marine. It's like get 1 or 2 games in, then let's move on, do some other stuff.
Yeah, and so I'll do that, and then in the night stream. Just out of nowhere, me, Imperial Nexus, and the one Sovereign, or 12, as some people know him. He hangs out in Texas' stream if you haven't seen him here, Mitt.
Sovereign plays with us on our channel, too, all the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We whipped up some weird idea of making a Star Citizen movie based on part of Interstellar, and so we're throwing that together. We're still working on that, and I'm thinking about doing more stuff like that in the future, sort of trying to recreate space things in Star Citizen and see where I can take that.
That's a great idea because before I became a backer, there was a lot of the original content creators that were here that are no longer even streaming or doing any content that I've seen recently. Besides maybe a couple, like Nikki and a couple other people. But they used to do that stuff all the time. They had all kinds of videos they made playing with the game because when they didn't have even the content we had now, I mean, you got to think they didn't even have Arena Commander and some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So they had to just create content, videos, little cosplay, whatever they had to do then. And some of it was really amusing and stuff, but I think we've lost some of that in the transition while we've gotten more content. We're just kind of really wholeheartedly reliant on CIG or some of these really awesome video developers like Trillian and everybody. They've been doing some video stuff, but I think it's cool that people are getting in there and doing stuff like you and making their own movies and stuff. We're seeing it more and more come back even stronger. It's cool.
And I always said, I'm like, people are like, well, what is there to do in the game? And then I list everything off, and then I'm like, and then, sometimes you just got to make your own content, and then you don't realize how fun that can actually be when you start with a simple idea and then take it to the next level. You can create something amazing, and, it's going to require a couple days to get this the way I want to get it, but that's the way it is.
Well, it also helps a ton when they added in the new camera controls too.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, they're still a little funky for me to get used to, but it's a lot better than
what we had. Yeah.
Yeah.
they're always improving on that for us too. And I remember, I mean, you got to consider most of my channel growth and content came last year when we were just sitting in Korea shooting each other all the time. So, there was lots and lots of little to do, and we made do with that. But I think there's opportunity there, and everybody should just get in and have some fun with the game. I think there's lots of opportunity too. All right, well, let's go to Mr. Toy. Toy, what have you been up to later, bud? And you've been busy beaver.
Yeah, mostly busy on Conan this week. So keeping the beat down on the exploiters. So
keeping the exploiters in check. So that's pretty cool.
I made an exploiter rage quit. So I'm patting myself on the back for that one. Oh yeah, they were so mad. I pulled an avatar out and was bombing his base, and he's sitting up at the top trying to. I got myself up on this rock where he couldn't actually physically come down and reach me. But he was trying to reach me with the bow and arrow, and I Mitra stomped him right there. He lasted about 30 seconds after that. He's like, he logged off.
That's great. That's great. Well, there's been fun stuff happening. I mean, obviously, every night's an adventure in PUBG. We've been doing that. I've been still working on the Stream Theory stuff. We have the Discord up, and people that want to join that to start talking about what we're going to do in that community, you're welcome to. Content creators, everybody. That's a command in chat that's always available, just ! Stream Theory. Additionally, we are working on building up some other giveaways and some other things, hopefully in line with 3.0. I'm hopeful we'll get a nice big giveaway fund for that. We just broke $1,000 on my trip to Germany, so we're a third of the way there on that, so that was pretty awesome. Thank you so much for your support in doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, and again, if we don't make the total by the time it's time to go, we'll spend it all in giveaways for everybody on the CitizenCon stream, so we'll do that instead. So either way, it's a win-win. It'll be fun. We'll either send me over there and we'll see what's going down, or we'll have a blast right here with you guys hanging out and doing the thing. We might even decide to go to Texas if we can't make the German trip and do that for what everybody's doing over there for the other stateside con. I think Roost Smash has got all that planned and stuff. Let's see. Other than that, that's what's been going on with me. And we're going to get in and talk a little bit about what we've been seeing here in the latest ATV, as well as maybe a little bit what's happening with the happy hour and all that. We kind of beat the bush down on the CCU thing, so if you guys have questions about the CCU stuff or anything of that nature, that's fine. I'd just say let's not beat the bush with that, because I think it's a dead horse at this point. But you're welcome to ask any question of the cast you want. All you have to do is type !questions in chat for that whole jazz, and you'll be able to get linked to the doc for that, and we'll do that at the second half of the show for you. Additionally, sponsored by Mr. Space Zombies, we're going to have a $25 gift card giveaway during this strum at the end of it. So you'll be able to enter that here in a few minutes. We'll get that set up for you, but let's make sure that you get the questions in, you do that thing, and I'll work on getting the keyword raffle up for that here in 1 minute. All right, so our first piece that we're going to talk about tonight, I think from here, we're going to work it kind of inside out, so it's not going to be linear for you guys, so you'll have to deal. So don't get too grouchy about it.
Yeah, because Toy Grumman is the one who did it. So
yeah, Toy. We made work a little harder today, so be gentle with them. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is this is actually where they were discussing how the loading mechanics would go on the ships as far as the transporting of other things like rovers, dragonflies, ships of that nature, and how they've been working on that update, where they've basically indicated that they're going to use the same landing mechanics like what we have now currently in the game in order to facilitate that. And I think that's really smart.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at that, and because one of the things we kind of had problems with when I used to work on a mod back in the day they showed it when they were showing all the failures in the clip. Is one of the things that they we're working on is basically the second that you put one body, as it were, inside of a ship or another body, you're going to end up with either clipping or explosions and different physics effects, And so, however this works must be either like a clipping, like an attaching feature, or something like that is really quite ingenious in allowing it to not cause everything to explode.
Yeah, and then this path right here that they show on the back of the Freelancer itself kind of interests me, because it's like if you were going to dock into that as opposed to just load gear, I wonder how I guess it just finds the path, right? If you automate it, just like with the landing mechanism where it orients you to the line, it'd do the same thing here. You'd hold down a button and it'd pull your Dragonfly and then slot it in the side there. So,
yep.
Yeah, well, I see no problem with that. That's great.
It's the new Cutlass, or is that a Freelancer?
I think that is no, it's a new Cutlass. It's got the engines out, I think.
Nice.
No, I can't tell.
I can't tell either. It's awful wide to be a Freelancer.
Yeah, and the engine's on the right. I don't know, and on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would think the Cutlass is a little bit bigger than that, isn't it now?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
I
hard
don't know.
to tell.
That's a great question. I think maybe that's a Freelancer Max or something we haven't seen with the big back end. Who knows? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It looks different, though.
Yeah, the insides are definitely not the Freelancer.
That is the Cutlass?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Doesn't look as big on the inside as I thought it would be right there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just
and those pictures they take, they use a little tiny camera.
Yeah. It's all about perception, man.
That's it.
It's all about it.
They fisheye that thing out, so it's like...
Yeah, it doesn't have legs and hit the pods. Yeah, absolutely. And this is, it's good that they're going to have some sort of guide on the rover, because that's going to be a whole drama fest there, too, with like all that action. The rover. I was never a big fan of the fact the rover takes up 100% of your cargo capacity if you have it loaded there. It's
that is horrible.
Yeah, it's not my favorite fit. But, hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? So we'll get through it.
But just remember, you can store stuff in the rover and then store your rover in the thing. So there is some storage in the rover. Just not
We're going to have to do wife packing on this, apparently. It's like, where's my toothbrush? Well, it's in your socks, in the pouch, in the thing with your suits by your shoes, because that's the way it fit in one suitcase. So let's see here. So the next thing we had, I believe, was eyes. Let's see. That's kind of scary looking. Look at that. Right there. So yeah, it talks about shifting of eye color and all that stuff. I mean, the fidelity is amazing on that. But
it looks so good.
The one thing I do want to say about this, besides the fact it looks amazing, they've done such great with facial animations in this game, and all the aesthetics, and how you can even fly somebody in the PU helmet to helmet, look at them, and just see that type of quality already. Like right now in the alpha, it's there.
And it's only getting better.
It is, absolutely. It's always getting better. And I didn't think they were going to have that kind of adjustment for like the eye color, like to some of those crazy colors. Because I mean, it goes back to like, I guess it goes back to the whole thing about no pink ships back when Chris said that originally, and then they came out with the pink Dragonfly, and it's like, oh, well, I guess that's something here. Are they going to allow you to have like red and green and purple and blue eyes? I mean, is that a thing?
Well,
why not?
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, I remember, like, this is one of those questions early on that they were like, yeah, they're not going to, like, go off the, rails on some of the different things, like, but I guess, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I'm just trying to see what direction.
I mean, eventually we're going to be able to play as aliens, right?
Well, that maybe, eventually, post-launch, like, down the road, but...
Well,
you would think it would be cool to eventually, if they work in the Banu and Xi'an races and stuff like that, that you could have those type of characters down the road. Maybe not play pure like Van Duel or something, but at least have some allied race where we might get some of the aesthetics and culture. That'd be cool. So
and it actually looks like they got better at because they've talked about how they want the skin color to better match the head scans, which is really hard to do because the head scans are way higher fidelity than the hand-modeled body. And it looks like they're getting a little bit better if you actually pay attention to the GIF at matching the the head body combo.
Yeah. Well, I remember back when they had the old suits, and then they had the problem the necks were too long, right? They had to make the necks longer because the old spacesuits were like the way they were shaped. So when they took the spacesuit off, the guy had a neck that was like 1 foot long because they had to stretch the anatomy like that. They're like, well, wait a minute, that's not going to work. So that's when they went through the whole suit design and seat design and all that stuff. So
I just, what I wonder, especially with all the movement they have around the eyes and the way the eyes are looking around. I know EverQuest Next was going to do this before they canned it, but they were going to tie it in to where your own webcam would watch you. And wherever you were looking and wherever way you turned your head is the way your avatar would look and turn your head.
I think they still have that mechanic in, don't they?
I don't know. I haven't heard about it in ages, but I hope they do something like that with this. They got such a high fidelity and such a cool look with everything. It needs to have that.
I think they were going to do that, and it was associated with the Track IR originally before they took the support out, and they just recently added that back into the game. But and we'll be able to experiment with that when I get my Track IR here soon. But the
eyes are different, because you can't put dots on your eyes.
No, but you might be able, like when you're in 3D mode, if you like articulate your head left, with the Track IR, maybe it does pivot left with the camera. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
I think it used to, because I could have sworn that was part of the demo of things. It's like, but they still got it so you can't like manipulate the system to take advantage of it in FPS. You can't look around a corner like we do in PUBG with the camera and like see what's all over there or anything like that. They've got it still anchored down to where third person doesn't really give you a tactical advantage in Star Citizen at all. It just gives you an aesthetic camera perspective.
Well, with all the muscles that they're putting in a face and stuff, the mechanics they had in that EverQuest Next they were working on, like if you scrunched up your face, it would actually do it on your character in the game. Like I said, they had it tied into the camera. It was so cool. And to have that capability, built into these character models here, I just hope they do like EverQuest was planning or EverQuest Next was planning and tie that into your camera so you can use all those facial muscles to their full extent.
Yeah, they were saying that they wanted in-game chat to be control the character's mouth, didn't they?
Yeah, they're hoping to. Like so. Whenever you do, if you use the in-game voice where it moves the lips in sync. Well, we hope in sync. We don't know. You can't get bullet sync right now, but we'll at least see the motion to of the lips moving and stuff like that, based on what you're saying.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to use the Intel face rig technology for that off of cameras, maybe even.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
The tech would probably be there. It's just whether that would be plausible for like just transferring to a regular webcam without getting some crazy results, like your face all twists up like you had a stroke or something crazy,
Well, I it's so much processing just to do the face rig stuff alone that I can't.
Oh, I'm telling you, the demos they had for EverQuest Next, somebody would stick out their tongue at their camera and their character in game would do it. It was
that's
so
pretty
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, that would be the Intel face rig technology allows you to do that.
I was going to say,
have to pull those videos up and show you off screen.
I've been experimenting recently with some whiteboard type animations and stuff I was going to use on my website that I was messing with, and I was looking for the explainer videos where you make the little simple cartoons and all that stuff. Well, I found in my Adobe suite under what used to be the Flash application, now it's the character animation application is what they call it. There's actually rigging technology that interfaces with your webcam, just like FaceRig does for Skype and stuff. And you can actually take your characters in that, and if I move around and do all that stuff, it'll open mouth and eyes with my eyes through my glasses with this webcam. And I'm like, if you can do that, I could see Star Citizen doing something really cool with the face rigging tech and that. Now, I will say when I ran that app, my computer thought it was going to take a poop a couple times after I did it too long, and this is with a pretty new model computer. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to, knock your socks off right away without detrimentally, causing problems with the game. But if it was something you can enable, if you were really into RP and you're sitting in a bar with a friend or something like that, that'd be amazing video to capture, right? If you're inside the game and you're just in a small confined area and you can activate your face rig and have a conversation or something. Think of all the machinima movies and stuff people could produce. It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy cool.
I threw one video up in the Spacebro show channel for people to look at that's related to that. So
cool.
I know it'd be a pain in the butt for you to pull it up, but
well, because it's on a different machine than
it is
for me.
But look at that later. That stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll check it out. This is the scanning tech. Actually, Toy, you were talking about this to me a little bit more than anything the other day, or this morning, I guess, not the other day. But yeah, they, even though they weren't necessarily talking about scanning, and they were just showing some of the aesthetics with the lighting and the other aspects, this is really fucking cool looking. This is really neat, and I would love to see these type of chambers, not only on your ships, but when you enter and exit areas and stuff like that, you could scan people coming off and on for everything from weapons to viruses and everything else. That'd be so badass.
Have they made any mention of the given purpose?
Not in the specific video, but we know the last time we saw anything like this and wasn't this advanced was at Area 18 when you scan for weapons before you go into the plaza there when you're walking around the planetary surface. So I think it's something like that. But can you imagine having something like this on I would think on an exploration ship or an Endeavor or anything like that, you'd want some tech like this so that way you could check for wounds, you could check for anything. They could make a whole biohazard aspect of gameplay with that too. It'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm totally supportive of this. This is really neat shit.
Yeah, I'm hope they implement this in some places. It's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
That Area 18 has that security checkpoint area right there where,
with the big gun pointed at your face in case you do something dumb like Fifth Element. It's
I'm trying to think about where that is.
When you first get into the zone off the elevator, and you have to go through the chamber where the guard the fixed NPC's at.
Mm-hmm.
That area is right there before you go into the actual plaza. It doesn't function or do anything because it just has an NPC just looking at you like you're an idiot right now. But normally it says check weapons and all that on the wall, and it's got a big gun up there pointed at you. It's supposed to do the whole multi-pass scene from Fifth Element for you, right? You come up, you have to identify yourself, you have to check any weapons before you go into the plaza, and then you're allowed to go into Area 18. But right now it's just a standing featurette. It's not doesn't function like that.
Multi-pass.
Go right in. Corbin Dallas. All right. Let's see here. So what's the next one? Oh, go back to my mouse. Let's go over here.
Yeah, there was a lot I didn't even clip.
Yeah,
the fog related.
Yeah. Okay, well, we get into we're already at the sexy time stuff. So this was really badass. The Reclaimer video.
Oh yeah.
This is screamed Prometheus to me. This is a scene from that movie, verbatim. I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's badass. I didn't even, and when I think of the Reclaimer, I don't even think of it as being on the ground. You know what I mean? I think of it like salvaging ships in space. I didn't even think about a scene like this.
Or, when I saw it land at first, I was like, oh, it's probably medium-ish size ship, and then they bring out and I knew it was probably on the larger side, but they bring out the people, and then you get a real feel for the scale on that thing being even far bigger than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. But just remember, Mitt, it's got a drone in there that's supposed to bring pieces. Mm-hmm. So you land this thing on a planet, it's like a mobile station.
Well, you could even use that
exactly
claw.
How I'd use it.
Yeah, you could even use that claw depending on how it articulates. We haven't seen it yet, right? We know it goes out and in, and we've seen that. But, if that claw has any articulation to it, which it looks in that scene like it does, because, see how high up the ship is. You could drag stuff to it. It could claw it, crunch it down right in front of it, and then you could load it up and do stuff. So, it might. Why not process on planets? If you're the prospector can process on space and planet side drilling, why couldn't the Reclaimer do the same thing for salvaging, for shipwrecks and stuff like that?
Well, see, that's the other thing. You can use this in conjunction with prospectors to bring the stuff from the prospector to it. And you, like I said, use it as a mobile, remote facility for processing all your stuff.
And to be honest, even though it's not a mining platform, it might have to be that way because there's no way you're landing in Orion down on the surface for processing things.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if these things would have multifunction where it could facilitate some sort of processing for mining, like breaking down rock or something like that for it. I don't know.
I don't think rock, but
just metals and stuff to salvaging things.
Just the metals, because the metals will be different than the ores. So
yeah, definitely.
This is going to be the equivalent to the Orion, just for metals and not, ores. At least I think so.
I'd agree with that.
It'll be interesting because I don't know. Maybe this is just sort of looking at this from a critical standpoint. They're inventing a lot of it seems like they're inventing a lot of ships without maybe having the full-fledged system implemented into the game yet.
Sure.
Which seems like it could cause problems later down the line. Like, okay, we're developing this ship, this ship for this kind of thing, but we haven't even started on what it's going to do.
It does seem like they've grabbed a lot of ships for the cool factor, right? Like, even from the beginning, it's like, oh, we need a ship that's like this historical spaceship or this ship that fits this role. The original, like, even you look at the combat line, we were discussing this earlier before you were over here, Kuro, more focused around the Eclipse, which we'll talk about next here. But it feels like in the beginning, and this is something that Chris Roberts pitched, was, okay, as far as the combat ships go, we're thinking like World War II dogfighting, right? Like something that's really close-up personal, that type of style. And you see that reflected in everything from the Auroras to the Hornet lines to all these things where it was this type of style of ship. And what brought up the discussion today was the fact with the Eclipse, which is a stealth bomber, right? How does that fit in the overall canopy of the world? How does that fit in with line when you have things like the Retaliator in there, right? Where it's a bomber. Apparently, they both use size 9 torpedoes. You have a single-seater ship that uses size 9, which I still wonder if it isn't a typo. But it's 3 size 9 torpedoes in that thing. It's the same size as what the Retaliator uses. And it starts to like draw a line. If this is like stealth technology and the Retaliator's there, what's the purpose of having the Retaliator? I mean,
it says it's only 21 meters long. The torpedoes are almost that long.
Yeah, there's a whole discussion on Concierge too about that on the forums as well on Spectrum.
Well, I mean, you saying basically, well, why don't you just use the why even bother to have the ship if we already have something like that? Which brings me back to the Hurricane that came out, and the Hurricane was just basically like a Super Saber.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And we could debate the fact that less armor, this type of application, all stuff. Like we talked about, the Retaliator's more like the flying fortress, right, of World War II, where you have all the gunners and you're supposed to deploy some heavy weapons. It's heavily armored, it could tank some stuff, whereas the Eclipse is really light and stealthy. But I'm thinking of it more in a platform like this. You're bringing in a World War I/II bomber versus a modern-day stealth bomber. It just doesn't make sense they'd be functional in the same universe necessarily, because tactically, when you play them in the game, maybe you want to bring in the tanky ship with all your boys and you're fighting a firefight, but I would think most people choose optimally to stealth in, drop their payload, blow something up, and get the fuck out. But, I mean, we'll see how the game plays out. The other dynamic that Kamikaze actually brought up regarding this discussion when it came to these ships was the fact that he has a Hornet Ghost, right? Which is supposed to have stealth technology in it, basically, mostly due to like higher armor class for stealth, the component systems and all that stuff. Well, now introduce the Eclipse, and the Eclipse is supposed to be the top-end stealth type bomber role, but now they've introduced a stealth component system. Well, how does that impact ships like the Ghost? Does that mean we're going to have a Ghost rework? Does that mean we're going to have to look at the Saber again? Because the Saber's supposed to have stealth tech as well, right? So they haven't really defined what stealth is in the game in a way that, like, okay, don't worry, you guys who bought the Ghost, this isn't going to supersede all that. But then you look at the price points, and even though we've always said all the price points are based on you're pledging to back the game, all this stuff. No matter how we put that, inherently, if I spend $250 or $275 on a spaceship, I'm going to think it's going to be a little bit better than a $150 spaceship. Because even though I'm back in the game, you're going to kind of assume what you're pledging for. You'll also get a little bit better ship than what the other ship is. I mean, That's just kind of the way people are going to presume it, no matter which way you cut it. So,
I was just going to say another example based on this entire sort of debate is I mean the perfect example is Starfarer already.
Yeah.
You know, you have what essentially is a big gas tanker they already have in game, but they don't have. Yeah, but they haven't talked about how the fueling systems are going to work in any way. No. Whether it's going to be practical or, you know, like.
I mean, they've talked about how they worked, but they've kind of dropped it, right? We haven't seen any movement towards the system on how it's supposed to function or all that stuff, or when it's coming in necessarily. I think on the longer roadmap they released last year, they had something to that effect. Yeah. But since then they've quashed that whole roadmap. That's not it. They're only looking all the way to 3.2 at this point, and then going from there. I don't think we have anything scheduled beyond 3.2, even long term.
And so, you know, it's kind of like, well, if it's like a refueling plane that exists today where they get up in front of the plane and then like, you know, a thing comes down and, you know, is that something that's already sort of been taken into account? And if not, will that require an entirely new item system, which causes us to have to basically remake the ship again? So,
and the one thing I wondered is, does all these ships they built, does it have that refueling port? Because that's exactly how they talked about it. It would have the nozzle come out and you'd be able to refuel remotely like that. Does every ship come with that? Is that accessible? Have they thought that? Have we
gone and looked on all the ships?
I don't know. I never have. So I wonder, like, is the gas tank in the back or is it the nose or what? You know, I don't know. That's a good point.
So you wonder if they're getting ahead of themselves.
But yeah, and that's my only concern with the stealth tech. And I know they'll bring it in line and all that stuff, but it would be nice if they said when they rolled out, like for the Eclipse, it would just be nice. I'm not saying they did anything wrong, but when they rolled out for the Eclipse, if they would have came out and said, hey guys, don't worry, the other stealth ships, the other aspects, we're going to be going and readdressing each of these for this new component system that we're doing for stealth tech, so that way you know. Because what they've done now with the CCU changes and all that stuff, which I 100% support the CCU changes, I think they need to start withdrawing and removing these things away. But when you take away options from the players, which they plan to eventually anyways, you have to define the ships they have, because we're the situation I'm in and a lot of other people who have invested well over $1,000 into this game, we have made purchases based on what they've predefined as the role of the vessels that we have, right? If they're going to inherently change that, I need to know if a Hornet Ghost is better or worse or what its functional role is versus this bomber. Does the bomber, you know what I mean? Because you're making financial decisions now. And there's some camps that will say, oh, I don't need to do that. I don't need that information. They don't have to do that. Well, they don't have to, but it would be nice if they did. Because if you're going to take away my options to CCU over to this ship or that ship, I want to know what I'm spending my money on. I mean, you know, I want to know what ships I'm getting. I don't want me to drop $250 like in this case. And you're saying, oh, well, yeah, it's not that different than this. Or, oh, yeah, this is 1,000,000 times better than that. You know what I mean? And that's up for me to determine, but you need to define more clearly all the functional roles of the ships. We need that stats page that they promised over 2 months ago to be updated correctly. Because, I mean, I can't advise my viewers on what to buy. They come in and they say, hey, I looked at the stats page. And I'm like, yeah, I know that says that, but that's not the way it is. So, you know, and they're wanting to pledge into the game, but they want to know what they're getting besides just supporting the game growth. I mean, that's fine. But I just think if you're going to, and they haven't done anything wrong at this point, but if you take away the CCUs, and then you take away, like, who knows, maybe the buyback's next. Maybe we're going to start losing buyback options. Like, they'll say, okay, now it's about time, and if you want to buy back any of the ships in your inventory, you need to buy them now, and that's it, because you already have limited tokens on how many you could buy. You know, I'm not ready to pull out my wallet and buy back what I want until you tell me what the ship is actually going to do and lock that in for me. That's important to me.
Well, that's what killed it for me. They sent out that email early to the subscribers and said, oh, get the ship now. And you get the special number and special this, special that. They didn't even tell you what kind of ship it was or what it did. We didn't know if it was a bomber, a stealth, a fighter, if it was a transport. We didn't know anything.
Well, it's interesting when that mail went out yesterday that they made it sound like you were going to get an early access 250. And then today at Warbond it's $250 still. You know what I mean? Because when they sent out that early access mail with the Polaris, right? That was the only time I believe you got it at $625. Because when they actually released the ship after that, it was more.
But they gave you, a couple days or something for the people that went there. This one, it was like, the way they made it seem was like you had to buy it yesterday.
This is also the first time they've ever released the flyable price with the sale.
Yes, which is
weird. Yeah, they're saying when this is flyable. So now they've already determined how much when it's flyable it's going to be. It's going to be $330.
So right now they're selling a picture more than anything else.
Well, you could buy it for $250, which is a pretty much, if you really are interested in the ship, that's a pretty big arm twist. That's an $80 price jump, right?
See, this is sort of laying credence to more and more to my theory, and maybe this is just me being skeptical. But this is, with the CCU changes and everything like that, in addition to some other things that I've seen going on in the background, and this could just start a rage storm. But I'm just gonna say, do you think that there's a possibility that they're dubious about funding at all right now?
I think their marketing department is making some interesting choices on their approach. They definitely have changed direction over the last 6 months of what they're doing. We've seen some very odd things happen from the referral program, and this is all marketing directed. I mean, this is not, I'm not trying to say anything bad about, I don't even know if Sandy's still really running the marketing department, but I'm not trying to say anything bad about Sandy or anybody else in marketing. It's just, it seems very odd when they've been very open about what's coming sale-wise and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden we get weird stuff happening now, like the referral program, the Hello Kitty stuff, and then like, okay, now our marketing strategy is not only to give you an email real quick, we're going to send this blast notice out 24 hours before the sale release, and they say it's only good for 24 hours. I pretty much believe it said that, right, Toy? On the email?
So.
Double check that. I don't want to misquote, but I think they said there was 24-hour only offer on that, and then it's like, it's not really, because you come in today and the war bond's the same price. That's fine. Okay, that's kind of weird. But then you're using your marketing more as a stick instead of a carrot, because they're like, well, if you don't buy this now, it's going to be $330 when it's flyable. Most of the time, they've been really wishy-washy about that. They've been like, oh, it'll probably go up, but we don't know. And, it might be $25, $50. Who knows? I mean, they don't really come out there to do it. This one, they're laying it out. It's like, this is the ship. It's fucking amazing. And if you don't buy it now, $80 hot price hike. Go. And I'm like, I just felt it felt weird to me. Now, I think the ship looks badass. I picked up 2 with credit, so I paid the $275. The credit difference between the monetary difference is not that big. It's only $25 difference. So if you wanted to melt shit and get one, okay, whatever. But it is hands down the most expensive single seat game in the game. Like they don't have a single seat ship that costs that I can think of. Yeah, that's $250.
I mean, yeah, there's something weird going on there, and then. I mean, the referral contest is one of the things that definitely raised a red flag to me for some reason. And
it was different going on. That's all I know. I don't know what it is.
Well, the reason it kind of raised a red flag to me is because, there's one thing to give out, like rewards for referrals. It's fine. Yeah. But, then to have a referral contest, which essentially encourages people who own the game or people who have a higher status to sell people a ton of a game that is an unfinished product. It's encouraging people to sell an unfinished product with less information probably than the buyer is aware.
It kind of felt to me, and this is something, it's like I got family that are in real estate. It felt to me like if you're on the $1 million, multi-million-dollar home circuit as a realtor, and when they offer those promotions, all right, whoever sells the most houses this month, there's a brand new fucking B&W, and that only is going to apply to like the top 3% of sellers, you know what I mean? Like these guys that are up there, and that's all fine, but it just felt like a real forced push, you know what I mean? Right. So I don't have a problem with them being profitable. I've said this multiple times. I think CIG needs to make money. I think that's how they develop business relationships with people like Amazon, is showing that they're profitable, showing that they're growing, showing these type of things. But but I feel like they're really disengaged from the community. As far as communication when it comes to marketing. It's really it doesn't feel like, oh, hey guys, we want to build this cool thing with you when it comes to these ships and these aspects. It's like, oh, hey guys, you can get cool shit if you sell more of our shit. Go, bro. And I'm just like, that feels weird.
Yep.
It feels like it seems like there's a personnel change there that we're not aware of on the marketing, and somebody's advising somebody to do something and something different's going on, because it just doesn't feel the same.
It does feel a little weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on.
I'm not ready to call it like, oh my God, they're fucking money grubbing assholes and all this shit or anything like that yet.
No, I'm not ready to go Derek Smart yet.
No, I'm not ready to do that yet. But at the same time, something's definitely going down different with the sales strategy. I can't say I'm a huge fan of it. I don't see anything inherently, negative about it, other than they might be damaging the relationship with the community a little bit on their approach. I think they could still make just as much money. I think they can still sell these ships. I think they can do all these things. I just kind of question their approach and think they need to kind of be a little more reflective and engage the community in finding out what we might want to buy. Like, I'll swear to God right now, if you guys put the Rover on sale today for $50, you'd probably make $500,000. Because everybody's been waiting for the $50 fucking Rover to come back, and you guys haven't put it out for, I don't know, I waited last anniversary, son. I haven't got my Rover. Where's my Rover? So, not that I'm salty about it or anything, but
I would like a Rover.
Yeah. I mean, where's the small hanging fruit for us?
Because why would that's my biggest thing, is why wouldn't they just keep selling that like anything else? Didn't offer LTI on it when they first sold it. Yeah. It was only $50. So why aren't they selling that thing? I understand the planets aren't out yet. They're coming though.
They have the Dragonfly out.
Yeah. So I don't get it, but
the Dragonfly is technically a ship. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I mean,
they sell gray cats.
Again, I support 100% them starting to eliminate the CCU system, because to me it means we're getting closer to the game. I support them doing these things, but they have to be careful on how they present it. They have to be careful on how they roll things out, because you've given people all this privilege and options with the money that they've pledged into the game, and you are starting to take it away, which we already knew you would. That's what was supposed to happen. But if you're doing that while you're throwing big purchase gotchas like in people's faces a little bit, you might want to get some small hanging fruit, people. People like, get some $50 Rovers in there. Get some more, T-shirt options or something. Get something.
$50 for a Rover?
Yeah, that's how much it was. It's $50.
Was it?
Yeah, it was $50. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, I mean, a Dragonfly's 35.
Dragonfly's 35, but a Rover's much bigger.
Yeah.
Can a Rover hold a Dragonfly or no?
No, it's like a 2 to 3 seater. It's like a mini APC.
Yeah, I figured not.
Because with it fitting in the back of a Connie, it didn't hold much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it takes up the entire Connie drop bay, so it's not super tiny, but not big enough to hold a Rover on, or Dragonfly on it. So.
Yeah.
But it does have a little tiny bit of storage. It's got the gun on it.
Yep.
It's got 2 front seats up front, plus some.
2 or 3 seats. It might be a 4 or 5 man. I can't remember. With the jump seats, it might be 4 or 5 people. I'd have to look it up.
Don't remember.
Yeah.
But what you guys got to remember too, that Ben alluded to a while back. I can't remember where. There's another ship coming out for concept sale very, very soon.
Yeah.
They said within the next 2 months, there's 2 ships coming out. This is the first one.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a combat ship.
Yeah.
So.
So we're going to see more and more stuff. But I just think, if they cycle the assets a certain way, they're going to get more people. And I think they're going to get more people. I would like to see them offer some more starter pack options again. Some different types of things like that. I think there's a lot of things they already have that I think they're missing out on with some of these things. There's too much targeted at, hey, this is the next best spaceship. And that's the problem I have. Like, every ship that comes out is the next best spaceship. The Hurricane was amazing, can strafe it can strafe and destroy things, but it's a glass cannon. I'm like, really? It's a glass cannon, but it's amazing and it's fast. And I don't
know if they're marketing as the next best ship. They're all different. They're just all so different that I don't. Except, I mean, when you get into like the fighter category of ships, that's probably more true.
Yeah.
But when you get to all the rest, they're all very, very different purpose. Unless you're going for like the whole series, which.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that eventually I'll be able to get this pirate Idris that they had in this shot here. You guys catch on to that? It's fighting a Idris, and it's got a pirate logo all over, and it's red and black, like the fucking Caterpillar pirate one was. I was like, that's pretty fucking cool looking.
Oh, I guess I couldn't quite make that out.
Yeah, I was like, it blew my mind. I was like, what? But that's definitely a Idris. Although I don't think I would take this glass cannon bomber heads up on an Idris. I just don't think that would be the best tactical move. But yeah, I want that. I want the pirate Idris skin. That'd be amazing.
They need to redo their scales on their drawings.
I think
it just looks so tiny.
You want to be honest? I think this is the best scaling they've ever done because there's no way to tell how big anything is because it's like a third-person perspective and it's totally safe. It's when they line shit up with people next to them and they put bombs and stuff by them. That's where they get really dangerous because then it's like, well, that man's exactly 2 meters tall because everybody gets out their rulers and shit and they're like, well, that's wrong. That can't be right.
If there's anything,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say if there's anything true about CIG and scales,
yeah,
it's like I mean the Caterpillar was supposed to be what?
Like, yeah, everything gets bigger. That's one thing, and the second thing is like any concept drawing is not an accurate measure. I mean, people should get over that too because it's like remember the debacle on the Terrapin? People thought that thing was huge because it showed small dudes standing next to it, and it's like, well, it's a 2-man ship. What? You could hold like 10 dudes in the thing. Yeah, it's a tank with a cannon on it. Look at it. It's got a cannon. It's like, there's no cannon. It's not fit for all that. And, it's people see a concept and they go a little crazy on it. So.
But I was just going to mention Kamikaze says it's really far away, which is what they say in their page is it's going to have super range on those missiles. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's a reflection on like the Retaliator's got some pretty significant range too. So you would think when you're any ship that's a torp boat, you would think that would be a thing. But these ships like supposedly can sneak up on a target pretty determinedly, deploy their weapon systems, and drop stuff before they even realize that really they're already being dumped on. So this is my type of ship right here. I am not big shout out to the guys over there, Renegade Squadron, and all their dogfighting capabilities. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who'd rather just sneak up and blast you out of the fucking space and just go on my way. So
I'm just so sick of all these glass cannon ships. I mean, there's only one tank ship, Super Hornet. That's it. All the rest are glass cannons of some type. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Cutlass is pretty tanky. But I don't know. We'll see what it's like flying it in weapon systems versus Super Hornet. That'd be one of the first tests I'm going to do. It'll be the ships that can't kill each other. It'll be Super Hornet versus the Cutlass. Just punch at them all day.
I understand what they're trying to do. They have 3 classifications of ships. You got the small ships, you got the medium ships, and you got the large ones.
Yeah.
So this is considered a medium one. And, of course, within that range, you got your stealth ones, you got your fighter ones, you got your bomber ones. And this just happens to be a medium bomber. So, and, of course, with all your different manufacturers and stuff, they want a good variety of each of those types of ship from each manufacturer to compete against each other. So, yeah, I understand it. But this price point, I don't understand that. Especially, like I said, since we were talking, the Retaliator bomber, which is the heavy bomber, is the same, it's less money. So, doesn't make sense. But,
yeah. Well, I mean...
But the price for the Banu went up, so the price for the Retaliator goes.
Again, to me, it's also boils down to application, though. Because, like, you might have the Retaliator, right? And it might be... XYZ, I think it's actually might be $25 higher with its gear and everything. I thought it was $275.
Not after the 330 price.
Not after the 330 price, but that's a flight ready. Who knows when that's happening? I'm talking just today price. And the Retaliator might come out and be even more money later if they re-release it. Even though it's flyable now, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a price hike on a flyable ship, right? Super Hornet. I mean, we've seen stuff go up when we were already flying them. Mm-hmm. So I just think if the stealth tech is that good and that big a deal, and a lot of people complained about this video right here because they saw the little tiny dudes and they're like, oh, that's like can hold like 10 people on a bomber. It's like, again, you don't know how close the dude is walking to the ship or anything. It's take some grainy video, and they're like, "Oh, that's got to be like 100 feet big." You know, it's like crazy. And
21 meters.
Yeah, but they sat there and with the application of the ship, if I can sneak in and legitimately get within, gun range of you, even like let's not even talk torp. Like I could get in gun range of you, and you can't detect me until I deploy weapons. That's a game changer ship, but we don't know that's the way it'll work.
Well, we won't even know till scanning gets even a first pass in a game. So
yeah, and again, that goes back to my original thing. If I'm investing money in the game, like I have been, I kind of want those type of definitions. I hopefully the Q&A encompasses that. I would encourage CIG even take that a step farther. Instead of answering like 10 questions on a Q&A, if you're going to roll out a ship with these type of cost metrics, tell us that it's going to be $80 more later on if you miss out on this opportunity, because that's basically what they're saying. If you miss out on this winter opportunity, it's going to be a lot more money. Well, okay, I have to decide to melt shit or put more money into the game if I really want this ship, okay? Or I have to wait till it comes out, and then who knows? Because Chris Roberts already said ships that cost hundreds of dollars will literally cost millions, if not billions, of UEC in the game, because the scale will be astronomical. And he said he's been quoted saying it's much cost efficiency wise. If it's something you don't want to grind for, it would be cheaper dollar wise to pledge for it than grind for it in game, because it's going to be astronomically higher in game. Because he looks at all these things like, okay, well that's a stealth bomber. Okay, we might charge 300, but in real world, the stealth bomber is like a 21, $1 million for a fighter or something like that. It's going to be crazy higher. I need to make these decisions now, because we're getting to the point as more and more options get eliminated from me being able to transfer ships. I have to decide what my fleet is. What's my personal fleet? What ships do I want to have? And if you put everything in a time scale where you're not only taking away those options, but you're saying I only have this long to make that decision, because the CCUs were the gateway, right? They were the way where you didn't have to make that decision. You can buy a couple $0 CCUs, put them in your inventory, and then if you decide to make that change later, you were good. Now you're not going to have that. So I'm just asking CIG to be a little more clear on how the ships compare, and what my recommendation would be, if you're going to roll out a ship that's in between $250, $500, whatever, maybe you need to have a little town hall in that, a little live Q&A, more than just the, hey, we're just going to answer 4 or 5 questions, 10 questions off of Q&A. Maybe sit down for an hour and interface with the community about the ship and answer all the questions that you currently know about the ship. And that would encourage sales. It'd make transparency feel a little better than this automated, I put in X, hopefully my question gets asked, and they aren't just, candy picked and all that stuff, and then we move on with life. I'd like that. I miss those Q&As. I miss the live Q&A stuff. But that's just me. Grainy photos is what we get now. Let's buy it. Are those mice? Are those
8mm camera.
Yep. So I like that stuff. And because there are ships that I've decided I'm going to grind and wait for game. I mean, that's just it. But there's a certain amount of stuff that I'd like to have that I don't have to worry about grind for. And I just want the information to make those decisions. So, all right. Well, guys, we've reached the point in the show. I know it hasn't been a long time, but we're going to do Q&A. I'm going to check and see if any of that stuff's done over there. Make sure, you guys are entering this raffle. ! Space Bros in chat to make sure you're in that. And we're going to see if you guys have any questions. If you want to add questions list, all you have to do is put ! Questions, and it'll bring up the form link for you. And you can dive in and throw some questions for me and the rest of the cast. And hopefully I'll be able to find the question sheet real quick. I blame the sickness.
I was curious. Did we was the fog effects that they brought in, was that something they developed, or was that a new release from Lumberyard?
I think they said that came out of Lumberyard, didn't they?
Yeah, it was tied in, or Lumberyard gave them the facility to be able to introduce that type of lighting in the volumetric fog. So
Okay.
I don't think it's something, hey, we turned on a switch, but I think that capability came with Lumberyard, and like everything else in Star Citizen, they customized it to fit their purposes within the game itself. So, well, we got a few.
I can't wait to see some of this. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff they can do with that. I love how, and we didn't clip it, but how they took some of the lighting of the Star Citizen logo and then threw the fog over the top of it.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
That's some very, very cool stuff they can do with that fog. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that moment where I was like, wow, fog has gotten really, like, fog and lighting have gotten really advanced. I was sort of blown away on that one.
Well, you know, I haven't seen them do it yet, and I don't know why, but I want to see some videos of some actual players with like flashlights in their hands, or just even their suits, that, you know, some headlamps on the suits walking through that fog. I bet that alone would fucking blow me away.
The lights we're supposed to have on the suits.
Yeah.
that don't work half the time.
Or just you know, some fog on a water planet or something, and have a ship come through and the turbines of the engines or whatever spin the fog. Oh my God, they could do so much.
Yeah, where you see, like, you get that little whirlwind of them taking off or pushing stuff around.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
Because they got all the
We saw a lot of the
contrails and
dynamic
stuff.
lighting with the fog, though, in that Reclaimer video, too, because that presented a lot of aspects of that in that little shot. That was kind of like their demo reel. Because you can see, like, if we bring it back up here real quick, you can see, like, how the windscape's pushing around. You can see how, like, the fog and the volumes areas there. But it's not in a closed area. I think it was even more dynamic when it was in a tight space, you know?
The question is, this could be a pre-render, though.
It could be.
Yeah.
And I would assume it would be.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff they do in Game Engine, they just don't always say it. So it'd be nice, that'd be a good question for them. You know? Is this something they did in Engine? Is this something there? Is it a pre-render? What, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting to see the transformation of the you know, the layered, almost like object placed, all kind of almost looked spritey fog.
Yeah.
And then have the more even balanced passing through the light type of stuff that they added in. Some cases I thought it looked better. Some cases I could see where going with the localized stuff.
I would say, and especially when you see the lights there and stuff on the Reclaimer in that shot there, I think that's an engine, because that looks a lot like their dust storm like process they do on planet side servers just at night. I'm pretty sure that's an engine.
You think the ship is that close to done?
Yeah.
Oh,
with the walkthroughs they've showed over the last 2 times?
Yeah, they've shown some, but I just
Oh,
you know, I didn't think it was that close.
I bet so.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's done.
I think it's way done.
If this fog engine or whatever works the way I hope it works, they could be using it not just for fog and stuff, but this could be used for the dust storms on the planets.
Yep.
You know, and stuff like that.
Well, you can see stuff like with the moons, with the geysers and stuff like that, and the steam vents and all those type of things coming into play. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects where you'll see that volumetric stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do, because when you take off and land on a pad right now, just like a standard landing pad, you'll see, you know, backwash or splash sort of from the engines, and it'll be interesting to see how that effect works once you're on a planet, if you can land outside a landing pad.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I hope, you know, I know you had some reservations about them being able to scale this up to do the nebulas and stuff, but I hope they can scale this up and do some. I mean, they've shown some little clips of nebulas from very, very far away.
Yeah.
But I hope they can do some cool aspects.
I mean, it's the particle effect thing.
Yeah.
That's just hard.
And it's how thick, you make it, how much volume to the nebula, and all those things will come into play with that too. Because they've also talked about, like we were talking before the show, gas giants, things of that nature. We don't know where they're at with that. We don't know, if it's going to be this thin layer of mist, like what we've seen through some of the warp videos from last week, where they jump through a nebula, and the nebula is just kind of like an effect as you go through it, you know what I mean? Like a little bit of this, because you pass through that destination to another. But it didn't really have any thick volume to it. It wasn't like, I want to see nebula like fucking Raft of Khan, Star Trek nebula, where it's like your fucking lightning storm around you and you're ship to ship, your radar's all jacked, and you're coming around and you don't know if he's there. It's like peekaboo with spaceships, I want to see that type of craziness happen.
Didn't they make a quick mention that they wanted to use some of this around the asteroids in Yella too?
They've talked, I think, a little bit about it, but I don't remember specifically them saying anything about Yella. But that would be awesome if they did.
How would they do that? I'm wondering.
Maybe an area of Yella. There's so much asteroids there. You could make an area like that and call it the bumper car district, because you'd run into everything. You couldn't see shit. It'd be amazing though.
Yeah, you're saying just like include the asteroids in like a nebula.
Well, yeah. I mean, man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
If you find that, show it to me.
Corey could have mentioned it.
I would love to see that.
I was thinking they were talking about the way the particles work, because that asteroid field is just like you have big, huge asteroids, and then that's it. So what they need is a lot of dust particles,
right?
Which if they scale up the volume, the fog to make those particles big, it would be like a fog of dust from.
Because you would think when you're flying between them, maybe you get some little. It wouldn't damage your ship, but hear the rocks like hitting the glass or something. Like little.
That'd be cool.
That'd be super cool to hear little pings in the hole as you go through like an area that has like a lot of disintegrated rock.
Yeah,
I hope to see that when we go mining too. Like you see disintegrated rock peeling off from asteroids as you're like mining them and doing stuff with that. That'd be neat.
I don't know enough about astronomy, but for like an example, like Saturn. Which has a ring around it. I don't know how much of that is more like a finer dust, or how big the asteroids are. I'd like to know that, just so for comparison standpoint, to see how they're gonna work things if they knew.
Yeah.
Well, I know that when that satellite was going down back and forth between the ring and the planet.
Yeah.
The way they test is they listen for dust particles hitting the satellite. That's how they test what's there.
That's one way.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Juror just mentioned something. Let me see. Talked about them flying through the new Yella.
Maybe that was it. Let me.
I linked it over in it's over in the pub chat.
Oh, it's got a GIF.
Yeah.
That's cool. Brings a realistic factor to it.
Yeah, let me see if I can dump it on stream real quick here.
So it's a little thicker.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from there because it's like her taking her camera video of the screen, you know what I mean?
Of the screen, yeah.
Like everything else Sandy does, it's like, here, I'll use my iPhone and show it to you on screen.
Yeah, it's kind of like the... It gives you as much idea as the video that they did for the eclipse under the... with the 8mm camera or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as my scroll wheelie version here. Like, oh, look at this. Reminds me of watching YouTube music videos of stuff that happened before YouTube was around, where people had video of a TV screen from like the 1990s and they put the video up on the screen. Like, here, this is a video of this one thing that happened on TV I had on my phone. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, but yeah, definitely. I think that's kind of neat that we're gonna see some high res of that. Mm-hmm. It's like watching Bigfoot. Yes, that's exactly what it's like.
That's what CIG does with.
That's what we're going for. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, VHS.
VHS all day. I thought it was Betamax.
Yeah, definitely Betamax.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's answer these questions now. We only have a few. We'll knock them out, and then we're going to draw this raffle. If you haven't entered a raffle yet, again, you also have to be a follower of Kurosaji here. So if you don't have his link, if Toy did it right, it should be under guests in there. There you go. Also, to follow him on Twitter, too, man. So whenever he tweets out about when he's going live and everything, make sure you hit that up, because Twitch is not always reliable in that regard.
That is true.
So hitting the regular tweets is good. All right, first question from Samuel says, "Hello, Guy. Thanks, streams. And you guys feel like there might be conquer mode in SC. Also, what do you think in what capacity?" So he's talking about like a conquest mode. I assume that you're talking about versus org, or some sort of like territory control, like in some of the other space games where it could be a PvP aspect.
So,
like an Eve or something, where it's 0-0
like
space.
Star Wars Galaxies type thing where you could take over a town, or
it's like control the javelin, right? That's going to be one, right?
Well, kind of. I mean, but this seems like it's more conquest. I would think it's more of a territory control area, like you would hold an area of space. And there's a couple of different perspectives on this that I know of. At this point, I don't think there's any plans to control areas of space, because inherently in the lore, all the space is controlled by the UEE, the Vandul, or another race. They own those areas. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't control a space station, an area of a planet, or something like that, because there's lots of open territory, per se, that was like, large tracts of land. But control a whole solar system or anything like that, and like a game on EVE Online, they have like, I can't remember now, 5,000 to 10,000 solar systems in that, whereas we have like 100 to 110 if they build them all out to what they originally said. So I would think it'd be more about controlling assets in a system than it would be controlling the whole system, if they go that route, which I hope they do.
And we can't even come close to speculating until we find out at least a bare minimum of how many people we're going to be able to hold on a server. So
yeah, or in the instance at least, we don't know for sure at this point.
So,
but yes, I think they want to include those things. We just don't know the details of who, what, where, when, how, or all that yet. It's a little too early for that type of gameplay, unfortunately. But I hope so. We know they do have plans at minimum to have derelict spaceships that we can fight over and try to capture and repair and stuff like that, like the Bengal. That's going to be the only avenue to capture some of those in-game vessels, is going to be through some sort of territorial control gameplay where you have to either find it and capture it, or find it and defend it against other players or something of that nature. But
we'll also be able to steal all the other ships that you want too.
Yes.
Related note.
Yeah, but it's also going to be repercussions when you take it from another player. Being, even if you don't get caught stealing it, you aren't going to be able to drive said ship into territorial space without some sort of hack or mask or something of that nature. They've mentioned some ideas around that, but again, nothing finalized that we know of at this point. So you're going to be able to take them. We just don't know what the repercussions or anything of taking them really are. So we know they can just file a claim with their insurance and get fucking their ship. So, but they aren't going to allow you to manipulate it in order to, like, farm ships. So I remember Sean Tracy going into detail on that. If it's a stolen ship, the value of the ship is going to be non-existent, really. So you're not going to be able to steal ships and sell them, per se. You would steal ships for the cargo or to use the ship, but say you stole like an Idris, you wouldn't be able to go and sell it for millions and millions of UEC, because if they did that, that would open up a black market type thing in-game, to where if Kuro had an Idris, I'd steal his Idris, he'd just give it to me, I'd sell it off black market, he claims insurance on it, rinse, repeat, we're making some real money. That's why they're not going to allow you to do that, unfortunately. Damn it. Well, it's a good strategy. Unfortunately, people have been there, done that before. Next question is from Agent 1213. Says, when Star Citizen releases, will the UEE have ships that we cannot obtain? Player ships are supposed to be hand-me-downs from the military. Yeah, they've already mentioned what the Lightning they're never going to sell, right? There's some ships I think they're never going to sell because they're military vessels. And that's the way it is. You'll have to get a civilian version, which they said that you would be able to upgrade to near military spec, I think. But you can't buy it like, it's like going and buying a tank. You can go buy a retro tank and refit it to be a tank, but they're not going to sell you one directly for the U.S. Army to like go out and blow shit up with. So that's the premise that I understand on that. I didn't know anything about it. It was supposed to be hand-me-downs from the military. I knew the Banu worked that way, but I didn't know that. We'll have Kuro answer this one. Do you guys think we will get to walk around an Idris in Squadron 42?
Yes. I mean, all of the bigger ships. Well, I think that was the point of a lot of the bigger ships were sort of designed for Squadron 42, to the best of my knowledge. Especially Javelin, as if I recall, has been shown in some of the Squadron 42 footage from long ago. But yes.
Yes. The Muro tour, I think they called it, right? Was that demo they had where they flew in?
Yes.
And yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Pretty guaranteed. Yeah, and he's 100% right. That's what we've been waiting for, is like they built these ships almost in order of what they need for Squadron 42 first.
Yeah,
and
I mean, they needed capital ships because that was definitely a main part of the storyline. So,
and capital ships are sexy. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
everybody wants one. I do. Next question. Let's see. It's about the Eclipse. It says the Eclipse, equal to the size of a Gladiator / maneuvering speed of a Hurricane, stealth of a Hornet Ghost, 75% of the torpedo alpha strike of a Polaris, 3-star torps instead of 4. Do you think they are promising a bit much for a one-seater? Nerf bat inbound? Question mark. I don't know.
They obviously have to have well thought this out, since it's a brand new concept. It's not like an old ship that they have to kind of refit. This is a brand new ship that they've,
I would argue the point of the Alpha Strike too. I don't think you can fire all 3 at once. I don't think it's an Alpha Strike ship. I think you have capacity of 3 large ass torpedoes, but I think you would have to lock and deploy each. Whereas the Polaris does fire 4 at once because it is a capital ship and can do so. It has 4 actual tubes and a payload of 20 torpedoes. I think the capacity of the Eclipse was 3 torpedoes. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it was posed down.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, everything's definitely subject to change, so we'll probably see a different ship by the time we get it.
And again, like we were talking earlier about the value of this versus a Hornet and how the stealth tech and all that stuff, I would not be surprised with as many reworks as they've already done on the Hornet classes of ships that they wouldn't go back and retroactively look at the Hornet, look at the Sabre, anything that has any type of stealth tech on it. I would say they're going to retroactively go back and say, hey, you're going to be able to put these stealth components on them, and those are going to be the major factor in this. And they figured to break it down to a component-based system for stealth. So we'll see.
How many reworks do we have on the Hornet now? 4?
More reworks than any other ship. I'm telling you, Hornet is Chris Roberts' baby.
Chris Roberts' baby.
Yeah, that's why the Super Hornet will always be the king, because that is the ship that he thinks is, that's his baby. That's the one he wanted to be, that World War II fucking heavy classed. What do you call it? Like
that's the one from Wing Commander. It's the same ship. So.
Yeah, so that's the one. Which is kind of depressing to me in certain aspects, because as badass as it is, I hate flying the fucking thing. There's so many other ships I'd rather fly.
Yeah, and the default loadout for that ship is not wonderful either.
Yeah. But it'll get the job done. That's the scary thing about it. Default Super Hornet can wreck face still.
Like I said, it's the only ship that's a heavy fighter in the game. So
how much do you think that ship will go up to before launch? Do you think it'll hit an price gouge?
I don't know. I hope it does. I have one, so I want it to go up in value.
Well, it won't appreciate your value of yours, but yeah.
Well, because they said the people that have the Banu said when the price increased, they could sell the Banu for the increased price.
I think it's a bug because it's not supposed to.
I don't know.
The thing people always say is they're like, well, do you think I should get the game now, or do you think I should buy that ship now, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, if you want it, you should, because this game's only going to get more expensive, and everything in it, and I guarantee you that.
Unless you want to grind for it. I mean, because all these ships are going to be grindable in there, and if you're one of those guys, and I know some min-maxers...
Your audio cut out.
Oh, am I?
For half a second. You're back now.
Is it back now? Okay. I was going to say, unless you want to grind for them, because there are people I know that are heavy grinders, and they love to min-max stuff, and they don't mind the grind. If you're one of those guys that gets like halfway through a big grind, like a 1 week grind, and you're like, nah, I can't do this, then yeah, if you're going to spend money, now's the time to do it, because you're not going to be able to later. So,
yep.
But I would encourage people that are as heavy invested in the game as I am to look at your fleet, make decisions, melt stuff, and buy it. It's only $25 difference for credit on something like the Eclipse. If that's big a game changer in your wallet, buy one. If you don't like it, remelt it. Use your buyback tokens while you got them, and get back the other one, because you're only going to be able to get them so often. And soon, I think it's July, we'll get another buyback token. If you don't use the one you got, you'll lose it. So, always an option. Always an option out there. All right. Best guess on price of the 600i.
That's the what? The medium size?
It's the Daddy 300 series. The bigger one. The better one. The badass one, I guess. I'll tell you right now, I am not a fan of the 300 series. I'm not overexcited about any of the 600 series. To me, it just feels like a larger variance of the same stuff. I think they look cool in the reworks that I've seen, the concept so far, but it's just not my type of ship.
They love this anywhere from 150, 175 to 250 price range. So I think a lot of their ships are going to stick in that price range from now on, unless it's a big ship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think that's making them the most money right now.
Just throwing a random guess out there after seeing this ship at 250, I would say most stuff, if it's a fancy ship, you're going to see in excess of $250 plus.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Anything that's considered fancy or fucking leading edge technology, that's the way it's going to be. I'm really hoping the next line of industrials they start to come out with, which they say are non-combat, are not going to be crazy priced. Because we've had the crazy priced industrials already. I just don't want to see like $900 and $1,100 ships coming out. I just want to see something that's sub $100 for the little guy.
Well, they need a...
Well, I think the Prospector's too much for the only mining ship available to pay $140 for it. I think that's too much. I think it's only going to go up in price when it's flyable. I think it's going to be like $175, $200 when they release it here. So I just think, hey, if I'm a guy and I'm like, hey, I want to go mining, it'd be cool to have a $100 ship that could do that. I don't know. Maybe put out some other mining variant sizes or stuff. Something like that. All right, last question I got, guys. Then we're going to pull a raffle, and we're going to wrap this puppy up, and then we're going to take a brief break, and I'm going to come back and play some PUBG for a little while, and we're going to see if we can unlock some more giveaways. Let's see here. It says, how do you think they will handle RP? Will there be areas or servers just for RP?
I think it'll be you make the game how you want to make the game. If you want RP, RP.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris... I was going to say, Chris Roberts really pushing to a single universe is what he's trying to do. There's going to be instances with the volume of people and stuff, but his goal is to make this a single shard universe the best he can through whatever mechanics he can, give that facade. So I don't think he wants to segment people into groups of like, I want this type of gameplay or that.
Well, I think the truth is, though, like the game is going to be so RP dependent that it's not going to be like, it's not going to be like, okay, I need to, I'm going to play my role. Like I'm going to, it's so RP dependent. Like there's a person that's the captain. There's a person that's the helmsman. There's a person that's, so, it's already RP.
You're going to have to be RP to some degree to operate in the universe no matter what, because like what Kuro's saying, you're facilitating a role in the game and the team.
Well, and with the reputation system that they keep saying they want to have out, that's going to play a big role in it too.
Yeah. It's just like when I play an FPS, if you have a sniper versus a gunner or a medic or anything, it's not necessarily going to be a level RP that's forced upon you. But if you're a medic, you're playing a medic, and you're going to be looking around for guys to heal, and that's the way it'll go. But it has the potential to unlock the amount of RP that you want. If you want to say you have this backstory history on your character and all this complicated stuff that you've been through, you can do that. So I think there's going to be places for all different levels of that within the universe. But I don't think there's going to be anywhere where it's like, "Hail, good sir, I am the Prince of Kazaban. I've just sailed over on my spaceship." You know, it's like, well, I don't think they're going to make you do that. But if you want that gameplay, do it with your friends.
I think they're definitely, it worked great in Star Wars Galaxies because they had lots of guilds and lots of players who did that type of stuff. They were role-played total all the time.
Yep.
And then you had the players that didn't, but it was still one big universe, you know what I mean?
And so. I think Star Wars Galaxies is a great example of like integrated perfect RP, because each class, or there were a lot of classes at least that were basically complemented and like targeted for RP. I mean, you'd be giving someone buffs by being a musician. So you'd be making music in the cantina, and the people would be benefiting for their raids, you know. And as far as talking in RP goes, I did that for probably the first time, like a nerd in Star Citizen. The other day, I did an entire RP stream, and I felt like I was dying inside.
Oh, dude, that video they just had on the highlight show this last week, where the guy put the little videos in the cockpit, cockpit, of the old man.
He was thinking of Conan again, in the cockpot, because they cut off the cock.
Well, yeah. Like... But what I'm getting at it though is, I'm going to do that crap. If I radio somebody that I see is in my area or something like that, I'm going to get on the comms, and I hope I'm on his little screen with my character, and I want to be like, "Oh, hey, hey, matey, what you doing in this area?"
Like a CB radio, breaker 120. Hello, I got it.
Exactly. And everybody's going to want to do that once you're on the little comms.
I want to be just like in Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll just have like cool 70s rock music playing through the radio comms, and they'll hear like, "What the hell's that?"
You know what? I'm going to go and learn Klingon and just talk in Klingon to everybody.
You would, just to troll people in Star Citizen. Like, what's that? Yeah. There you go. No, it should be interesting. I think that, I saw Testasic asking about, like, if they'd have a medieval planet. I was like, if so, Toy would be in charge of it, and it'd be like Planet Dong. It's like you'd go down there, and it's like you'd have to... Oh, dude. It'd be like medieval times, though. It's like not really a medieval planet. It's just a big restaurant where everybody's role-playing that they're like knights and shit. It'd be great.
I got to tell you this quick story, and it's Conan related real quick. So I watched their dev stream today, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking about how their weather system was just about ready to implement. And they're going to have cold areas where you have to wear the hyena fur armor and stuff like that, right? Yeah. And he says, cold does affect man parts.
Oh, my God.
So your little dong is going to
shrink. So you have shrinkage now.
It's an adaptive dong slide.
Isn't that awesome? Oh, that was hilarious.
So that means maybe if you make a new character in a cold region that you try to go to full dong, it's like won't let you. It's blocked. It's like choose a warmer area.
I feel bad for the person who works solely to get the dong right. Yeah. That's their job, is to make sure the dong functions as Unreal. I was in a pool.
Yeah. Billy, you need to put new rigging on the dongs again. You got to roll this game out the door.
Time to redo the armor again.
Yeah. So you got to rig this thing. It's like, what do you do at work today, honey? Just rig dongs again. We got to wait for the wind to blow right and make sure they're flapping correctly.
Chief dong creator at who makes that game. Gosh,
it's crazy sauce. Crazy sauce, I tell you. All right, guys, we're gonna get this raffle going here and do this thing real quick. Again, make sure you are following Kurosaji here as well. You do have to follow both me and him. And if you want to throw a Toy a follow, that's fine, but he's too lazy. He won't check to see if you're actually following him. So It's whatever.
I'm lazy too. I'm not gonna check if you're following me.
All right. Well, just make sure.
I'm just happy to be here.
As long as you donate like 300 bits to each person here, you're good to go. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get it all done here. All right. So we currently have.
Jay Lee just got here and we're just ending.
Well, we're gonna be streaming still. Jay Lee's here. No, we're just at the end of this. We're gonna play PUBG because Jay Lee's here right after this. Are you down, Jay Lee? You gonna play PUBG? I'm waiting for him. I'm gonna put him on the spot now. This is why I never get invited to any CIG functions, because CIG comes in. Oh look, he ended the stream already. Never mind. Click. So.
Yep. Stream's over.
Yep. Oh no. No, we're gonna. So the answer is no. So he's not gonna play PUBG with me. I see how you are, Jay Lee. I'll remember that.
No, that wasn't the video that said that.
You don't have internet right now. Huh.
He's on his phone watching it.
Let's think about that. He doesn't have internet right now, but he's on Twitch.
Tether.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing on his phone.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, you can watch us play then. But now we're going to draw this raffle real quick. This is for a $25 Star Citizen gift card, so you can run out and buy your Eclipse tonight. Chat, do it. Everybody, do it. Say, Jay Lee made me buy an Eclipse. And I want you to put it all in there. Go ahead and put it in there. Jay Lee made me buy an Eclipse. I want it in chat all over the place while we get ready to do this thing. Remember, we're going to put a claim word up for you guys to get on this raffle and make sure that you're able to claim it should your name be drawn. Do not say the claim word or phrase in chat unless your name is drawn as a follower. If you are a subscriber, don't worry. You don't have to say shit because subscribers have auto-claim. You don't even have to be present to win any of those awesome things. You just have to sub the channel, especially since these guys are too lazy to check their chat to see if they're following. All right. So we're going to put a quick claim word. We're going to go to the raffle window where it masks all our beautiful faces. And let's see here. What should I say today? Oh, yeah, I got one for you. Inspired.
Dual crotch thug.
Inspired.
I'm sorry, Jay Lee. We tried to get the Space Whale today. That sucked that they didn't do the Space Whale.
Yeah, they did the Resident Evil dog instead.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's your super hype claim word, guys. So do not say it in chat, else be purged from the channel. Just wait. Only say it if you're a follower and you aren't a sub. If your name is pulled, so do that thing there. We'll leave it up there for a second for you. All right, burn into your memory. We're gonna go ahead and seal the raffle now. It is sealed, and prepare for glory. Good luck, everybody. Looks like Clubberson is the winner, and he is a sub. So Clubberson will claim victory since these guys don't want to check their stuff. We'll send him a quick Twitch message, and we'll get all that stuff done for him. And just to close out the Spacebro show, remember we'll do the after show here. We'll take about a 2-minute break, maybe 3-minute break. And then we'll come right back with some PUBG for you and hopefully some more giveaways and whatnot. We're only 2 away from another game giveaway anyway on subs. So we'll get it done.
Jay Lee says Jared banned him on Twitch for 10 minutes.
Did he really? Nice. You're trolling over there. It's like, no, don't do that stuff. But no, again, Kuro, thank you so much for being here today, man. I really do appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I almost forgot. And now we got it delayed a little bit and ran late. And yeah, I'm kind of tired. So
yeah, absolutely. But thank you for coming over after I came over and kicked your butt and made you come over.
Oh, dude, I would have felt so bad if I missed it. I would have been like, oh my god.
Yep.
I'd be like, oh, I'll make it up to you somehow, Mitauchi. I'll throw 5,000 bits your way.
There you go. We'll remember he said that. So everybody when he wakes up tomorrow, I'll tell him, you never made Mitauchi's show. It's all a dream. It's all a dream.
This is why you'll invite me back and then just hope that I don't show up.
There you go. It's like, you never know. Maybe I'll get that 5,000 bits. I'm holding out for it. All right. And Toya, of course, always thank you for being the best damn moderator in the internets and working so diligently and hard all the time on the stream. And we appreciate the fact that you're here every single day as a moderator and an awesome co-host on the show.
Oh, so, thank you. I am here every day, but I don't.
He's usually just trolling chat, guys. Don't give him too much love. So, but guys, with that, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back on the air again in about 2 to 3 minutes after I go take a bio, get a fresh beverage, and we'll be playing some PUBG with our viewers, giving away prizes, doing some raffles, all that awesome stuff. In just a little bit. So if you want to see the Spacebro show again, or if you missed part of this, you can check out YouTube. We'll have it pushed out there by tomorrow for this episode, and then we'll see you again next Friday at 10 p.m. CST for the next episode of the Spacebro show. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
See you around the verse.
Around the Spacebro show.